12 years ago, Jessica was convinced she'd married the sturdiest pair of shoulders in the world, a man who could hold up the sky for her. Mike, her husband, was tall, dependable, with laugh lines that crinkled handsomely around his eyes, like sun-warmed oak in an Illinois summer. Their life together was like the suburban house they'd painted cream themselves. Solid structure, bright windows, and a lawn Mike kept perpetually green. They naively believed that as long as they worked hard and loved true, their walls could weather any storm. But Jessica learned, in the most gut-wrenching way, that the worst rot doesn't come from outside tempests. It creeps from within, silent and insidious, like termites gnawing at the foundation. Mike's gambling addiction. For 3 deceptively calm years, that ravenous pest hollowed out their home, devouring $1.55 million and the future Jessica once cherished as sacred. Their story began in 2013 at a summer barbecue in Chicago's Lincoln Park, hosted by a friend. Jessica, fresh with her real estate license, saw the world through rose-colored glasses. Mike, a few years into his UPS gig, was the star delivery guy in his district, known for his brown uniform, booming smile, and never-late reliability. Their meeting was straight out of a cheesy Hollywood script, 2 puzzle pieces clicking perfectly in a crowded room. In 2015, they tied the knot in a no-frills Cook County courthouse ceremony. No grand church or guest list, just their closest friends and vows to stick together through thick and thin, sickness and health. Their married life was the American dream in miniature. Jessica climbed the ranks at Keller Williams Realty with sharp instincts and relentless hustle. Mike, after grueling UPS shifts, moonlighted as a DoorDash driver in their beat-up Ford Fusion, crisscrossing the city. Like tireless bees, they poured every hard-earned drop of honey into their shared hive. Soon came their son, Noah, followed 2 years later by their daughter, Emily, whose arrival filled their home with laughter. To give their kids the perfect childhood, they scraped together every penny and bought a charming house in Naperville, famed for its top-tier schools. Jessica can still recall, like a slow-motion movie, their first summer in that house. It was a flawless Saturday morning, sunlight streaming through the kitchen windows, casting golden patches on the floor. Mike, wearing a goofy cartoon apron, whipped up his signature blueberry pancakes, the air thick with the sweet scent of butter and maple syrup. In the living room, Noah built a Lego castle with laser focus, his favorite cartoon blaring. Emily, just learning to toddle, stumbled into Mike's arms, leaving a drool mark on his leg. Jessica, sipping coffee and leaning against the doorframe, watched it all unfold, her heart swelling with indescribable contentment. In that moment, she felt like the richest woman alive. Their life seemed cloudless. Jessica's mother, a kind and capable retiree, moved in to help with Emily's daily care. Mike's parents often took Noah for weekends at their Indiana home, giving the couple precious alone time. With a steady post-tax household income of $15,000 a month, no debt beyond their mortgage, respectable jobs, adorable kids, and a tight-knit family, they had everything anyone could envy. So when the abyss finally yawned open before Jessica, her only agonizing question was, why? They lacked for nothing. Why did he choose to gamble? The first crack in their seemingly indestructible life appeared on a muggy Tuesday night in June 2022. The kids were asleep, and Jessica sat at the study computer, ready to pay the credit card bill and finalize the budget for Noah's long-awaited Disney family trip. She logged into their joint savings account, their $150,000 nest egg, painstakingly saved, their bulwark against life's uncertainties, their kids' college fund, their bedrock. But when the page loaded, Jessica froze. The balance in the top right corner read, $217.35. Her first thought was a bank glitch or network lag. Taking a deep breath, she hit refresh. Once, twice. The mocking, icy number stayed put. A bone-chilling dread shot up her spine, spreading to her limbs. Her mind leapt to the worst. Hackers. Trembling, she clicked on the transaction history, her heart pounding like it might burst. She closed her eyes, praying silently for a single, foreign, illicit transfer. But when she opened them, the screen showed the name she knew best, Michael Jensen. One transfer, 2-3, over 3 days, $150,000, split into a dozen transactions, funneled into his personal account. All time-stamped between 2 and 4 a.m., when Jessica lay beside him, sleeping soundly, defenseless. She could picture it vividly. In the quiet of her steady breathing, her husband, like a thief, took her phone, unlocked it with her fingerprint, the screen's cold light illuminating the face she thought she knew. Calmly, methodically, he siphoned their shared future into an abyss she didn't even know existed. In that moment, Jessica didn't feel rage, just the sharp, marrow-deep sting of betrayal by the person she trusted most. She stumbled into the bedroom, where he slept, breathing evenly, a faint smile on his lips like an innocent child. She shook him awake, frantic. He blinked groggily, mumbling, "What's wrong?" She shoved the phone in his face, the screen's glow lighting her tear-streaked cheeks, her voice hoarse from suppressed anguish. "Where's the money, Mike? Their money?" His sleepiness vanished the moment he saw the screen, his face draining to a ghostly white. He was silent for so long Jessica thought he'd spin a flawless lie. Bad investment, a friend in need. But he didn't. He slumped like a deflated balloon and whispered, "Let's talk outside. Don't wake Mom or Emily." At a 24-hour diner, the bitter tang of cheap coffee and greasy fry oil hung in the air. Under harsh fluorescent lights, his every wrinkle stood out starkly. He confessed everything. Online gambling, he said, had ensnared him like a vine. It started innocently, small-stakes poker during work breaks, wins and losses balancing out, a harmless game. But the bets grew, and he chased losses, trapped in a delusional cycle of one more hand to win it back. He burned through his paychecks, then fell for predatory online loans promising instant approval. No credit check, like a serpent's whisper. When debt collectors bombarded him with emails and calls, threatening to contact his employer and family, he panicked and raided their savings. "I'll win it back, Jess," he pleaded, clutching her cold hand, his eyes desperate in a way she'd never seen. "I swear, just give me time. I've studied the patterns. I was this close. I did it for us, for the family. Imagine if I won. No more mortgage, no more money worries." His words, the tired script of every gambler, struck Jessica as both alien and absurd. She didn't cry or scream. She pulled her hand away, her voice numb. "Mike, you're not winning for us. You're sick. It's called gambling addiction." Amid his tears, vows, and apologies, she chose to forgive him. People make mistakes, she reasoned. This was his costly detour. For Noah and Emily, for their right to grow up in an intact home, for their 12 years of love she had to give him and their family a chance. She paid off his loans, and they returned to their seemingly whole home. For a year, Mike was a model husband and father. He deleted every gaming and betting app, spent every free moment with the kids, took them to parks and museums, and did chores with zeal, as if atoning for his sins. Their life looked serene, the $150,000 crack seemingly patched with his remorse. But Jessica knew the truth. The unshakable trust she once had was fractured. She turned detective, secretly checking his phone history, logging into their bank accounts thrice daily to track every penny. Their intimacy grew cold, a silent barrier between them. They were actors in a happy family play, neither daring to tear the fragile curtain. It wasn't peace, it was a tense, disguised truce. In July 2023, a year after he swore off gambling, the curtain was ripped down. He didn't come home after work, and his WhatsApp messages stayed unread. Jessica assumed a dead phone or delivery rush, but as the clock ticked past 9 p.m., that familiar, suffocating dread gripped her. She lied to her mother about going for a walk and headed to his UPS station. Before reaching it, she spotted him on a park bench, hunched in the dark, his silhouette stretched thin by a dim streetlight, a cigarette flickering like a dying firefly. She sat beside him quietly. He flinched when he saw her, like a caught thief, dropping his cigarette. She didn't ask why he wasn't home or where he'd been. In a flat, emotionless tone, she said, "How much this time?" He buried his face in his calloused hands, shoulders shaking with stifled, animal-like sobs. After a long pause, he choked out a number that froze Jessica's soul. 320,000. That figure detonated like a bomb, shattering her last hope he'd change. She felt drained, too exhausted for anger or tears. Her mind blank, her body eerily calm. She said, "We can't talk here. Let's go to a motel." In a dingy motel room reeking of disinfectant and cheap air freshener, with an old TV flickering static, she made him show her every loan app's balance. The red numbers unleashed a year's worth of fear, grievance, and despair, erupting like a volcano. She roared like a lioness, tearing at him, slapping his face, screaming, "Why can't you stop? Do you know what this money means? It's your parents' retirement, my parents' life savings. You gambled everyone's future." He sat mute, a soulless puppet, his eyes vacant as she raged. In desperation, she FaceTimed his parents in Indiana. The kind elderly couple, seeing their disheveled state and the grim setting, knew instantly something was dire. When Jessica, sobbing, said divorce and revealed the astronomical debt, his father's weathered face flushed red, then ashen, while his mother clutched her mouth, tears spilling through her fingers. His father's hoarse, furious roar and his mother's near-fainting pleas filled the 4-hour, cross-state family reckoning. The next day, Mike's parents wired their entire $320,000 retirement savings, meant for medical bills and care homes, to Jessica's account. Like a ruthless overseer, she sat beside him, watching him repay every debt. She naively thought the sight of his parents' devastation would jolt him awake, that draining their nest egg would shackle him with lifelong guilt, making gambling repulsive. She scoured psychology articles on addiction, joined support groups, trying to see him as a patient, not a liar. She was wrong. Gambling didn't just devour money, it consumed his humanity, especially his honesty. In January 2024, Mike's paychecks started shrinking predictably. His excuses were polished. Whether delays tanked his bonuses or UPS was tweaking salaries. Each lie sank Jessica's heart colder and harder. Then, while showing a house near his UPS station, she stopped in for water and chatted with a cheery colleague who casually griped about holiday overtime boosting everyone's paychecks. The warm sunlight outside felt like an icebox. Forcing a stiff smile, she finished the showing, her mind screaming while her mouth droned about granite countertops and school districts. She parked outside his station, waiting for the man who was both her everything and her greatest deceiver. The confrontation unfolded in a nearby diner. No tears, no shouting this time. She slid paper and a pen across the table, her voice icy. "Right, every debt, clear as day." His trembling hand listed unfamiliar loan companies and staggering figures on the order slip. The pen seemed to weigh a ton. Jessica tallied the numbers on her phone's calculator, $480,000. Seeing her face, he confessed the deeper lie. In the motel, his real debt was $400,000, but he'd shaved it to $320,000, fearing the truth would end their marriage. He kept $80,000 of his parents' money, not to pay debts but to chase a delusional final win to fix everything. It vanished, snowballing into $400,000 more. Worst of all, he blamed her. "If you didn't control my cards so tightly, I could have fixed that $80,000 hole myself. It wouldn't have come to this." That accusation, venomous and precise, killed her last shred of pity. She called both sets of parents, her tone final. "We're done. No one talk me out of it." Even his doting mother fell silent. But it was Noah's call from Indiana, his voice breaking with childish pleas. "Mommy, don't divorce Daddy. I'll be good. I'll make him be good." That tore her apart. She didn't want her son growing up in a broken home, his clear eyes clouded by divorce. But what choice did she have? Drag her kids into his abyss? Love for her children hijacked her reason again. She emptied their $130,000 rebuilding fund, and her frugal parents gave their $300,000 life savings. When Mike knelt before her white-haired father, swearing to change, Jessica almost believed him. Surely there was a limit to his conscience? He'd bled everyone dry. Surely he'd stop? For months, Mike played the penitent. He quit his decades-long Marlboro habit for cheap, harsh roll-your-owns, rationing half a pack daily. He packed lunches to save a few bucks. Jessica played along, avoiding old wounds, praising his efforts, convincing herself positive reinforcement was therapy. Like a fool, she poured her family's blood and savings into a bottomless void, trying to glue together a shattered vase. In April 2024, Judgment Day arrived via a text from a collection agency, coldly stating that Michael Jensen's $30,000 loan was 15 days overdue, threatening legal action. Jessica, prepping dinner in the kitchen, sunlight glinting off the counter, felt no shock, no anger, just calm finality. She rinsed her face with cold water and knew it was over. Her 3-year war with his addiction was lost, utterly. The final showdown was eerily calm, like discussing the weather. She showed him the text. No panic or guilt crossed his face, just numb relief. She asked how much. He admitted, $600,000 in new debt since the last payoff. A number that could crush any middle-class family. No parents left to drain, no assets to mortgage, except their house, once filled with joy. Jessica listed it herself, using every professional trick to sell fast, even at a loss. At closing, she handled it like a stranger's deal. As the moving truck left, she stood in the empty living room, sunlight tracing the ghosts of their sofa and coffee table. Noah's Lego castle, Emily's scribbles, their movie nights, gone, leaving only hollow echoes. The house sold for $830,000. After fees, she gave Mike $400,000 to feed his endless void. The rest was her and the kids' lifeline. They signed the divorce papers quietly, no fight left. Now, Jessica and Emily live in a small apartment in another city. Noah stays with his grandparents. Jessica drives to see him weekly. Mike texts often, claiming he's in Gamblers Anonymous, working hard, begging for a chance to remarry. His promises, as sincere and heartbreaking as ever, ring hollow.